Hello, I'm Bookface, and I am gonna keep this fairly brief because I am just repeating some things said by better people. Unus Annus was a year ago, and I watched Mark and Ethan's videos recently talking about that, and I got really sad, but also motivated to do this video, so that's nice. Something neither of them mentioned, which I think is something to keep in mind. It's been as much time that Unus Annus was since it existed. Unus Annus was for 1 year, and it's been one more year. I don't know if that's significant to anyone else, but I feel like that's notable. So why am I here, other than to get views? Because there are several cryptids of Unus Annus, and while I could probably keep this series going and get in a ton of views, because the first one did incredible, I feel like it's only right to end this after a year and not milk it to death where nobody likes it anymore, because I feel like that's respectful to just let it lie. I will admit, the list I had for this was actually a lot larger and encompassed a lot of ones you probably wouldn't have thought of, but I decided, you know what, I'm also not going to stretch it to death in this video too. You know what, I have no reason to think this will happen, but man, I really want Mark or Ethan to see this because that would be really funny. I've got some good jokes in there, maybe. And now let us begin with our final look into the cryptids of Unus Annus. First, we have the Cup-foot Creeper. This is a creature that brings to mind various sleep paralysis demons. It is known to harshly slap its victims with an arm, leaving an intense sting. At the end of its limbs are small cup-like shells, and when the ones on the front are removed, it reveals tiny little baby hands. And this creature moves forward far quicker than you'd expect, considering its movement is in the form of minuscule hops, though it can crawl when it's closer. Next up we have the Homanculus, also known as the childbirth man or the creature from your mom's lagoon. This creature was once human and is a strange new form of being. The process of their creation is incredibly dangerous and has very limited benefit, if any at all. Though the reason this creature is created, and this is a theme you will see repeated much throughout this, is the idea of man wishing to go further beyond. What that means, we will see. Next we have Mysterio mortis Simier, also known as the Unus Annus Yeti, a strange, semi-physical entity that very closely resembles the Himalayan Yeti, except this creature can appear just about anywhere of a low enough temperature. These creatures are fiercely predatory and hunt victims wherever they may be, especially if they're on camera. Next, we have Norbert Moses. Now this is a very strange being. Its origin is unclear. It is believed to be the perfect combination of the energy from two dying gods. Norbert Moses is seen as a demigod of sorts, and sometimes was thought to be so powerful that he could control or edit the world around him, though some dispute this claim. Next we have Passamark. This is a strange creature that, as a defense mechanism, almost perfectly matches a human, when in reality, it is just a very large possum. It tends to hide in darkness, and when confronted, takes a defensive, hissing kind of stance. And when it is certain that it's been spotted, usually in the presence of a light, it rapidly sprints away, babbling utter nonsense in order to confuse its pursuer. This behavior seems to have some overlap with the he-who, though the connection between them is unclear. Next we have the Man of 1,000 Accents. This creature bears a striking resemblance to trickster gods from around the world. He's known for his uncanny and undeniable ability to perfectly imitate the accent of a location, as well as having approximate knowledge of that location and its history. Next, we have the Wolf, also called wolf-plier or furry plier. It is a form of wolfman known for its fear of male pattern baldness. Because of this, it assimilates hair from other canines to glue to its own body. This creature communicates with odd vocalizations that often sound like ooh-woo. Purpose of this is unknown. Next, we have the Dark Closet Clicker. This is a predatory creature with a warble like a turkey, often known to prey on Passamarks. They are humanoid and often find themselves in dark rooms in your house, though they can be heard their characteristic clicking, which is used to echolocate in total darkness. Next, we have the Teeth. Now this creature, quite simply, it resembles human teeth, which it is named for, but truly it is far more dangerous. The teeth are actually some kind of viral spore. When attached to something, both organic or inorganic, it assimilates assimilates this thing into its extended hive mind. It then takes these things and feeds them to the central tooth shroom. The location of that is unknown, though some claim it lives in Atlantis. As to how the teeth spread, that is currently unknown. Next, we have a creature known colloquially as the camping bear. Now, this creature is strange in the fact that many people have reported accounts of this creature, but instead of encountering this creature in the wild, many claim to encounter it in dreams, often seeing through its eyes, only identified as a bear due to its nose and occasionally seen paw. Additionally, it is called the camping bear for its tendency to stalk and kill people camping at night. Previously, it's been believed that taking shelter in a tent is sufficient in order to avoid attacks. However, due to some later reports, this seems very unlikely. With this new knowledge, it is now advised to run away as fast as possible when one of these creatures is encountered. Standardized fitness has shown to possibly be an effective way to prepare yourself for an attack. Next, the AI monstrosities Scientia Cerebri. Now, this is a sentient AI program which was created on accident when some very foolish people attempted to predict their own death using computer algorithms. It now exists as death personified and tries to recreate humanity for when they all die. Unfortunately, all of its subjects in humanity come not right, somewhat deformed and bizarre, and its ideas for the story that the world may tell are quite odd and rarely make that much sense. Next, we have the boys looking for beans. These creatures are ravenous, shadowy beings, desperately searching for beans, their main food source. And while they are worth mention, they are technically separate from the channel of Unus Annus and are considerably older, but the sightings have increased since Unus Annus. Next, we have the tripod, also referred to as the floppy feet. Now, these creatures are related to the real-world mythical creature known as the monopod. They have the ability to deliver a surprisingly strong kick from their additional foot. The foot is also incredibly durable to the point that it frequently moves bricks by kicking them around, simply just for entertainment. It has sometimes been witnessed giving what appears to be a high five with its third foot, though this seems to be oddly personal. Next up, we have a variety of creatures that go under the term Iretis Verdi, also known as the Grinches of Unus Annus. Now, this species of creature is somewhat endangered, and is known for having intense and extreme variation from one to another, sometimes being friendly, sometimes being cruel. It is truly impossible to predict. These creatures are endangered due to poaching. There is an image which depicts a pile of pelts from a group of poached Iretis Verdi. Next, we have a being known as Benjamin Ketchup. He is an odd creature with a head very closely resembling Benjamin Franklin and a body that is a giant 6-foot-tall ketchup bottle. It has been fabled that Benjamin Ketchup is actually from the future and represents the next phase in human evolution, when humanity itself can go even further beyond. Next, we have an elusive beast known simply as Mark's basement creature. Now, this supernatural entity is known to cause electromagnetic interference, which can affect radio signals. Sometimes this interference mingles with its cry, which sounds like a horrifying, distorted scream, like someone playing horror games on YouTube. It is rarely seen in photos, and when it is, the photos are very obscured to the point it's almost impossible to see them. Next, we have the conductor. Now, the conductor is a being quite similar to Charon the ferryman in Greek myth, a psychopomp that brings souls to their final destination. He may give momentary views of one's fate in 7-minute increments showing either heaven or hell. However, he will not take you if you do not have a ticket. The fate for not having your ticket is likely not one you wish to see. Next, we have a creature known as the Dark Goose. The origins of this creature are obscured in legend. The stories go that this creature was created when a god, or a demon, was temporarily blinded while attempting to create a regular goose. This led to bizarre proportions and the creation of something very real. In the same vein of unknown birds, we have the Plato Turkey. Rarely seen alive, these creatures are wholly inedible and considerably toxic. However, this does not prevent many foolhardy people from eating its multicolored meat. Those who do consume it are known to express an amount of shame and hope that any evidence of their indulgence may disappear after some time. As this is toxic, it is known to cause death in a year's time, and portions of this creature are noted as looking remarkably phallic. Next is a being called Success Mark, a strange spirit of war. It is known to revel in carnage and destruction, and has sometimes been believed to rip and tear. It relishes the feeling of blood and other viscera covering its body, and it brings terror to all who see. This state is when it has achieved its purest form of victory. Next, we have the Golden Man, a strange demigod or godlike being, possibly a vessel, itself or something else. It is possibly related to El Hombre Dorado, and is often considered the king to the lost city of El Dorado, and has supposedly been told to control strange beasts. However, these stories are likely fictional. Next, a simple one, the hydro-dipped baby. Now, the origins, meaning, and purpose to this figure are unclear. What is clear, though, is that it is an omen of death, and is likely supposed to combine both death and birth, much like the Homanculus. Next, we have the sensory deprivation creature. This is a bizarre creature that lurks in the waters of sensory deprivation tanks. It has the ability to take human form, but it unfortunately has multiple physical defects, as the replication is not perfect. While it may appear perfectly human at first, the closer you look at it, the more you realize that something is not right. Next, a being simply referred to as the unnamed mannequin. It was believed this being was going to receive a name, however that never happened. It is often believed to be a failed version at creating Norbert Moses, where Norbert Moses was a perfect combination of two fused directly into one being. The unnamed mannequin was a combination where the two parts did not mix, one side having two faces and two halves, equal and opposite, a deformed creature with no physical structure. It is in constant pain. And now to which, for the sake of simplicity, should be spoken of together. Unus and Annus, together known as the dying gods. Beings who represent death, time, the future, and change. These powerful beings have been known to see fate and death multiple times over. However, despite this, they do not accept that death and continue on. They have been given only 1 year of life, and despite the challenges that may come, they fully intend to live that full year no matter what. Because of this, various incidents, injuries, like say a broken nose, these beings continue to persist until their true death, after their year of life, where they ascend into something greater, their final form. In their death, both Unus and Annus ascend to a higher form, referred to simply as Goddess Annus. Its iconography can be found many places, especially by their followers. Now, this being is not two merged into one. Rather, it is 3 in 1. Unus, Annus, and its inescapable third member, death itself. This being has no form, and while it does exist, it is impossible to find. Is impossible to see, and exists only in memories and in the form of whispers. Those who did not see it in its creation will never see it again. Memento Mori. Well, that was a lot of me making up some stuff and hoping it's funny, which, I do enjoy. I could say a lot of things about how Unus Annus was awesome and I'm sad it's gone, but Mark and Ethan already did their big videos on that exact thing and they said it better, so I don't think I really need to. Even if this video doesn't do as well as the other one, which I doubt it will. The other one was leaps and bounds ahead of anything else I've ever done. I'm really happy with this, just because I think it's going to be real fun to make and edit, and it was nice to remember Unus Annus a year after. With that all said, Memento Mori. If you like this video, thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe, I guess. Let me know if there are any cryptids you wish had been here. And, just a little humble reminder, technically speaking, since Unus Annus isn't there anymore, you can make the most outrageous claims. Who's going to tell you you're wrong? I'd love to hear about all of the crazy cryptids that appeared on Unus Annus that can't be fact-checked. That all said, I'm tired. Bye.
I'm sweaty, knees weak, I'm sketty, vomit, sweat already, I'm sketty, nervous.